What's up, guys? We have Jay the Trader here. You know him from Twitter. He's an SPY master. We're going to get into a conversation with him. We've got my co-host Jonathan here, and we're going to hop right into the questions. So, Jay, how are you doing, man?
I'm doing good, guys. Thank you for having me.
Good, man. And Jonathan, how are you, man?
Man, I'm ready to get this podcast started.
Yeah, man. All right. So, Jay, if you don't mind, just telling us like a little bit about you, kind of like who you are, where you came from, just a little bit of backstory about yourself.
For sure. So my name is Jay. I go by Jay the Trader. I'm from LA, born and raised. I started trading right when I was 18, and then pretty much have been going full step at that. I want to say my third year in as far as full time. But I've been, trading right when I was 18 up until now. I'm still going at it. So yeah, I've been trading for about 6 years now going.
Damn, that's crazy, dude. Like what kind of like made you get into it? What was the catalyst to kind of jump you into trading?
That's a good question. When I was in, I want to say middle school, going into high school, so like the 8th grade going into high school, I was seeing a lot of people, going to McDonald's. At the time, I was really into cars, so I was seeing a lot of Ferraris, a lot of, Bugattis and whatnot, like on YouTube. And then I would see some on the road. So I told myself when I was talking to a friend, I was like, hey, like a lot of people was buying McDonald's. Like I would own this stock if they had a stock. And then I would buy a Ferrari and Bugatti too, because I just feel like, rich people buy that, buy those cars. So if they had a stock, it should go up, right? But I was very naive at the time, didn't know much about the markets. But it was that conversation that really sparked everything. And then I remember I said, right when I turned 18, I'm going to see if I could dive into the stock market and see what it's about. And when I turned 18, because at the time, well, you have to be 18 to open up a brokerage account legally. So turned 18 and I just jumped right in it.
So did you start off with options, or was it just like buying shares and stuff like that?
No, and I remember it today. I started off buying equity, so stock. My first stock I bought was Ford at the time. I remember it was in August of, I think, 2017. Ford was the first share that I had ever bought. I think it was at like 10 or 13 bucks a share. But yeah, it was stock. Nah. In fact, I lost money. I lost money on it when I first bought it. I didn't know really much of what I was doing, but I just knew that like there was I seen a lot of Fords, Ford cars, and it was a cheap stock. I didn't have a lot of money starting off as far as getting into investing and trading. So it was the cheapest I seen.
The transfer over from equity to options. So where did that part come up?
So that part came up, I want to say like a little bit, a year afterwards, like a couple of months to a year into me trading. I remember it vividly too. I was still trading equity stock, and I traded Tilray because there was like a weed boom at the time. The whole weed industry was booming. So Tilray went from like a single digit stock to a triple digit stock. And I was like, oh shit, like this is a lot of money as far as like the stock goes, And then Robinhood at the time, those were man, PTE. I remember all those companies. And then Robinhood had introduced options trading to their platform. And then I just signed up for it because I was like, oh, you can make more with leveraged capital in a sense. Let me sign up for that. And I did. That's when I got into it. Robinhood like brought it to their platform. I'm not sure if they had it already, but I didn't see it until I went into the settings and seen options trading.
When you hit your first option trade for a win, how'd that feel?
Man, it felt. No. So my first option trades, no, they weren't wins. They were actually losses. And they were on my Robinhood account. But when I had my first win, it wasn't even a crazy win. I think it was a double digit win, like $50 or $60, something like that. Felt like the man because again, I was like, at the time, again, you're coming from trading stock and then going into options, you're only making a couple cents here, a couple dollars here, because again, you're not trading with a lot of capital. So then when you do hit that option, and I'll be transparent, like I was lucky my first year because I didn't really know much about options. But when I hit that one option and then that hit, I was like, oh, this is some good money. You know, like I had never seen that amount of money, you know, trading at the time. So
yeah, definitely, especially like with options, like people don't realize that $100 matters. $100 a day,
big
like,
time.
especially your first one, you're just like $100. Like I remember shaking over $100. Like that was a big difference. Yeah.
No, yeah, because I was just saying, like you're coming from, like $100 at that time was like, again, like Jonathan said, it was crazy because it was almost like buying a shoe. You could now buy your favorite pair of shoe, you know, that you really wanted. And when you're in middle school, you know, in high school and everything, you really didn't have that money like that to buy, you know, things like that. You know, you would have to, I don't know about you guys, but I did, you know, in high school and middle school, when I would ask my parents for money and everything to get what I wanted to get. So when I had first, you know, made some good money that I thought was good in trading, I was like, oh yeah, I could do this on my own now, in a sense, you know.
Like coming from like, if most people like are working a 9-to-5 job, right? And a lot of people fall in that lower middle class range, or you know, I would say, at least from where I grew up, a lot of people do come from that. And you have to work so hard for that $100, so hard. And then when you find out you could just press buttons on your phone and make $100 a day, it's like, you know, completely life changing. You know, and it's like, Jesus Christ, this is what I want to do, you know.
And I also think the coming from like that first $100 is a big eye opener, because, you know, like we're not tossing like $1,000 in there. It's like 100. You probably have $200 in that Robinhood, and then now you're at 300 the next day, and you're just like, bro.
Yep.
So
I was
you become like consistent with it, because I know like maybe you were like taking losses.
It was. Yeah. So starting off, it was very choppy. Starting off, like I was taking a lot of losses than I was winning. And it was even harder because, again, I was working. So I worked 3 jobs before I eventually quit and, you know, went trading full time. So my first job that I had worked at, or the second job that I had worked at where I was throwing the funds into trading, was, I remember it was at Paxson. At the time, I was only getting paid every 2 weeks about $400, which is crazy. So I would throw that into the market, and yes, I would lose it, but you know, like I didn't really know what I was doing at first, which is why I was losing it, which makes sense. You know, like I just threw it in thinking, okay, I'm going to make these big gains. So I had to, what really helped me flip that switch or turn that table was sitting down and saying, okay, what are you trying to do when it comes to trading? Are you trying to grow a big portfolio to flex, you know, to show off to everybody? Are you trying to just invest for growth? Or are you trying to trade for like an income, you know, like an income base to get bills covered and whatnot? So at the time I was like, I mean, I do want to, you know, have a big portfolio because like all the top traders, you know, they show crazy, you know, gains and whatnot. And that's cool as far as the ego stroke goes. But I have bills that I need to pay, and my whole reason for getting into trading was to, you know, be financially free, not have to worry about much of anything, and be able to know that I can get these bills covered if needed, you know? So I had to really change my mindset and say, okay, you're now trading for an income. So that means you're now trying to focus on a daily profit goal to total up to like a monthly, you know, income that you can easily live off of, you know? So I had to focus down on trading as far as like doing this for income. And when I started doing that, it made me become more pickier with what I was trading. And it made me hone in on, you know, because I used to be all over the place with the stocks that I would trade. I would have like 10 to 15 plays open. It made me refine my plays even lesser. So now I'm only trading, you know, 3 to 4 names max.
Okay. So it sounds like, did you just like quit everything and you just said trading, or was it like, I'll lose one job, do a little bit more trading?
Yeah. So, like everybody says, you know, there has to be sacrifices made when you're stepping in this game. So I did have to make a lot of sacrifices. I wasn't a straight A student in school. Don't get me wrong, but but I didn't necessarily finish all the school, right? I appealed my high school because I was almost not going to graduate high school because I was just that slacking, that distracted. So I managed to make it, went to a community college, but that community college was like the death of me in a sense because I was paying out of pocket. I didn't qualify for financial aid, so I was paying for my tuition out of pocket. Right now, while I was paying out of pocket, I was still working a job, but I was still trying to trade at the same time. So I was doing bad in college. I was on academic probation and everything. I sat down with my counselor and I told her, hey, I do want to take, my education 100%. But at the same time, I notice I get the classwork done and everything, but every time I go home and, it's time for me to do that homework or something, I notice myself always up on the computer, researching companies, trying to learn about the stock market, this and that. And then she said, well, it seems like you're obviously giving both things 50-50. So you need to make a sacrifice and give something 100% of your effort. So coming from my family, from my tradition, it's very taboo to not finish school and to not get, that cliche financial degree. And I just had to, go home one day. I was like, okay, what am I going to do? Am I going to do college 100% or trading 100%? So at first I said, okay, I'm going to try college 100%. I'm going to try and get these grades back up to see, okay, if this is the right path for me, but if this can't work, I'm just going to switch to trading. So, mind you, at this time when I hit college, I was probably already in 19, 20, already hitting there. So I was getting on that realm of being profitable because again, I had to pay my tuition, not only with adding the money that I was getting from my job, but the little profits that I was making from trading, I will pull that out, and have to pay it towards tuition. So I told myself, man, I tried in school after I gave myself that ultimatum and I still didn't do good. I still find myself in the markets and I'm paying for my classes out of my pockets. So I'm really hurting more, than I'm winning. And so I made that sacrifice. Luckily, COVID had happened after I said, it's been so many semesters, already a year, going on 2 years that I'm not getting anywhere in college. I'm just going to take trading full time. So I did take it full time. The next semester had came up for the new year, but then COVID had hit. And then I told myself, am I going to do college on Zoom or stick with trading? And so I just said, I'm going to just stick with trading. And I pretty much just stuck with trading since then. It was a crazy sacrifice because, again, my mom didn't like it. I had family members tell me, I'm gambling, because my sister graduated Berkeley Law. My brother graduated Chico State, all four-year universities. But I so happened to just go to a community college, but didn't finish. But I already knew what I wanted to do, if that made sense. So I took a sacrifice, and college was the first thing I dropped before I ended up quitting my job.
Were you already with conservative collectors? Was that already rolling in the minds of you guys, or how?
No, it wasn't. No. So at the time, I was just focusing on, trying to become more profitable, trying to work on working a set strategy that I can use that I wouldn't have to tweak too much depending any market condition. And that was really my main focus, starting out into trading. I wanted to really hone in on a strategy, hone in on, tickers that I like, that I can, be versatile in and be, knowledgeable in before I even try and branch out as far as, doing a Discord or anything like that. So
how'd you meet your other team, like Troy and all of them?
So I'm pretty sure when you heard about me through TCX, I met Troy through TCX. Jack, I had met him through TCX as well. And my other business partner, Lucio, they were in TCX too, which is pretty crazy, right? It's crazy because I think the first person that really came under my wing was Jack. So sorry about that. So Jack I think he had reached out to me on Instagram because he wanted to learn how to trade or, get better in his trading. So, I was giving him some pointers, giving him some advice, on what to do to, better his trading and everything. And it's crazy because I really worked with him. We really worked hard together, and he would, keep me up to date on his progress, and he would make crazy progress. And then I remember one time he he grew his account so big. He had hit me up. He sent the message. I think I still have the message if I could find it. He hit me up. He's like, damn, bro, like this shit really worked. This is crazy. Like this worked. And like ever since then, like with that amount of motivation that I've seen from him and that euphoricness, like I took him under my wing as far as like, let's trade as a team. Let's, share ideas together, and see where we go with this, because I like how you trade. I like that, we were able to, work together and, get you to this next milestone in your trading career. Let's see where we can take this. And Jack was like, I think the first person I partnered with when I started Conservative Collectors. Yeah.
Yeah, man, Jack is amazing. I think like someone posted like a challenge account and he goes 1,000 to like 100,000 in a month, and I'm just sitting there like,
I think that was crazy. He did 1,000 to 400,000 in a month, one
like,
time, and then I think he took, I think it was 5K. I think it was maybe less, 5K to, I think another 200, 300,000 in another month. So I think he did over $1 million. I think 2 months. It was. And the boy's only like 19, about to push 20, which is just crazy.
That's
like,
insane.
Man,
That's so insane.
And so I told him, I told him, I said, hey, let's start Conservative Collectors. We started Conservative Collectors. And then I think Lucio had came into the picture because he reached out to me as well. And he wanted to learn how to trade or, better his trading. And so I taught him not only how to trade, but how to sell premium. So in a form of credit spreads. Because again, he was working a job, so he couldn't really trade every single day, but he wanted to be able to at least have some income coming in. So I taught him how to do credit spreads and sell premium. And then he eventually, learned that, mastered it, and then was able to, partner with me in my business as far as, in my Discord, he's on the premium selling side. So all he does is sell premium, sell puts and sells calls. He does trade, options here and there, but like selling premium is something a lot of traders don't normally know how to do. It's something that's very overlooked, but I think it's something that's very crucial if you want to controlled income based trading, because when you sell premium, theta's on your side, you're controlling the probability of you profiting. You have 3 ways of winning instead of 1 when you're trading options, right? So he was the third person to join on. And then Troy, I was scouting Troy for a bit because I seen, he was helping TCX, throwing plays out here and there. And then I loved what he was doing, and I had a chat with my other 2 partners at the time, and I said, you know what, like let's bring Troy on. It was a bit difficult starting off, or trying to make room to bring him on, because I really wanted to make sure all my partners were set as far as their equity positions go. But we made it possible to add Troy in there and get him on a partner. So I mean, without them, man, like Conservative Collectors wouldn't even be where it's at. So yeah, they really add a huge part to play.
oh yeah.
That's good, man. Sounds like you got a good group of guys over there.
Yes, sir.
So, like, what's your morning prep look like? How do you prepare for the markets day to day? Like, what's your routine?
So I'll take it to when the market closes, because I hardly really sleep. I'm always, charting and, looking at, things that's going on in the economy and everything. So let's take it from the market closing. So the market will close at my time. It'll be 3:00. Okay. I'm now charting. I'm now looking at, okay, what happened in the market today? What was the news that, caused the market to do whatever it did? So that's like a market overview, so to speak. And then I look for, fundamental news that, also cause our market to, drive either up or down. Because those two the market outlook, me understanding what SPY did that day, will help me, better attack it tomorrow. Because like if the trend was up, I will know that, okay, to keep following the uptrend. So look for any type of bullish patterns or breakout setups or something like that. The fundamental analysis that I go in to look for, it helps me as well, because it gives me, that fundamental catalyst that is, again, driving the market either in midterm to long term, not really short term, so to speak. So, we've been currently seeing all the data that's been driving this market. So that's a form of fundamental analysis that I like to look for. And then I do more research on the fundamental side to look for any future upcoming data that we need to watch out for, or that I need to look out for in the markets, And then after that, I go to the technical side. I analyze the SPY and the ES futures market. And I say 3 o'clock because that's when the futures market opens. So I'm able to analyze them and get levels, that they need to hold for the next day in order to attack. So when the next day comes up, I have the market overview of what happened yesterday. I have the fundamental analysis of not only what happened yesterday, but future fundamental analysis for the next day. Any data that's upcoming, that's there as well. And then I have my levels that I use to trade SPY or SPX or ES for that following day. And then from there, once that next day comes, it's just as far as me pulling up, the SPY and following my game plan that I created. And then if I do see any opportunity that is moving, in lockstep with the SPY. So I know like sometimes the energy market likes to move like that. The oil market likes to move like that. If I see any sympathy movers that I can, take with the SPY, I'll take it. But other than that, I'm really just trading the SPY, and getting, my game plan on that every day after the market. Now, if I do see, sector rotations within a market, any other ticker, it's that same exact setup that I'm using on the spot. The market overview of what happened to the market, how it affected that ticker, fundamental analysis on that ticker, if there's any news or earnings or anything like that, and then the technical outlook, which gives me, the levels and whatnot to use to attack. So that's how my game plan looks.
How are you noticing the sector rotations for anyone that's curious about that? Because I know that's a big thing for you. Like, you'll definitely attack a rotation before it even comes in. So I've noticed that coming from you a lot as a trader.
So there's not really one set answer. I would say this all goes with time that you have in the market. So again, I've been trading for 6 years, so I could say that the market is a big repeating pattern in a sense, but at the same time, the market really likes to move, as far as like a mid to long term sense, on fundamental catalyst points. So something that a lot of traders missed or still don't talk about is when Biden came in, he was very energy heavy, right? Very energy heavy. So that was, good for something like the energy markets. He had a lot of things that was going on with the energy markets. We do have the 2035 car ban. So that lets me know that, okay, for the Biden term, I should know that since Biden is energy heavy, let me go look if there is an energy sector in our market and how is that looking on a bigger scale, not on a 5 minute or 1 hour. I'm now going to look on, say, a 3 month, a 6 month, a 10 month, because that gives me time to look at not only the bigger picture, but gives me time to say, okay, while he's in the office for this amount of time, how is the market setting up to react to that? And if we've seen how the energy and oil market reacted to that, like they obviously, when the whole Russia-Ukraine stuff happened, I don't know, Jonathan, I think you seen like October, November, December of 2021, I was telling people to go long on oil and energy.
Yeah.
And that was because I pulled up, again, with Biden being very energy savvy, I pulled up the XLE on a 6 month time frame and I noticed a falling wedge chart set up on it. So at the time I was like, this looks interesting. This looks to be in lockstep with oil too, as far as oil on a 6 month time frame. There was a falling wedge set up on that, WTI crude or /CL. So just based off of that chart pattern, I didn't know that the whole Russia was going to invade and all that stuff. So I was just trading off of the chart pattern saying, okay, this is a falling wedge. If we hold these levels, we should, continue to push up. And I was giving myself these time frames as far as like, okay, we should see, energy at these levels by the end of December going into January and whatnot, because again, I'm looking at a 3 to 6 month time frame. So I'm not expecting the move to happen now. I'm expecting it to happen in a couple months, from then. Right. So I was in my energy trades. I took some equity shares on energy or XLE at 56 at the time, and oil too at around 60-ish, high 60s, mid 70s. And then the Russia invaded Ukraine, which caused a crazy spike, Yeah. But at the time, the oil and energy sector was still breaking out. It was still breaking out. And I was just trying to look for the 95 target on oil. And, then Russia obviously did the Ukraine invasion and that happened. But what was interesting with what went over a lot of people's heads, the reason why I had a specific 95 target, not only did I see that level on my 3 to 6 month time frame on oil, but I think a month after I had seen that whole setup, Putin came out. You guys can search this headline. He came out and said he sees oil at $95 a barrel. This was before the whole invasion happened. He said he's calling oil to go to $95 a barrel. And everybody was like, why is he doing this? Why is he doing this? I seen the chart pattern, right? And I was just following the chart pattern. And I was like, okay, Putin knows something, you know, but I didn't know what it was.
He was
and then
starting the
boom.
falling wedge also.
and then boom, that the invasion happens. I was like, oh, this makes so much sense, you know? So that's how I was able to chart sector rotations. But I mean, the way I spotted is if you, depending on what sector you look at, whether it's utilities, you know, consumer technology, I think the 3 to 6 month frame will be good to, you know, give you a gist of where that sector is going to go, you know, in a couple months from now. So if you are noticing a bearish pattern on that 3 to 6 month frame, there's normally going to be, you know, it's not going to be good going forward. But if you can notice a bullish pattern on that frame, you know, then you'll see some nice price action, you know, going forward in the following months. And you'll obviously have news to line up with it. There's news that always lines up with your technical setup almost every time, which is just weird. It's very weird.
Would you say sometimes TA beats the news?
Yes. And
Thank you.
and when Trump was in the market, honestly, like it was a running meme or whatever, but you remember when he would have his little talks or whatever, like, and he would be so late, I would tweet about it, be like, he probably has Kulo or whatever, you know, loading up on his positions, charting the market before he comes in and says something. But yeah, like, I think TA comes first, and then I think the news follows up with it, because you have to remember, technical analysis is all mathematically driven, right? And I think numbers can move faster than news, but I mean, they both move at the same, you know, the same momentum. But I think people have to look at the numbers first to now say, okay, we may have to shit the bed or something, or we may have to drop this bad news. Like, for example, if you're looking at a company for earnings, like they have to look at their numbers first to know if the earnings is going to be good or if it's going to be bad, right? And those numbers will reflect how the company trades in the market, because us traders will be looking at those numbers on their balance sheet and whatnot, their day-to-day numbers, if there's any bad news coming out or good news coming out, and we'll trade according to what we're seeing based off those numbers. Like if Netflix now just loads in 100,000 new subscribers, right? That's news, but I mean, it's also numbers within those news. You'll probably see a bullish pattern on Netflix or something like that. But yeah, so I think TA comes and then the news follows up.
So, like, with this current state of the market, like, you know, you've been trading for 6 years now. Is this, like, one of the tougher markets that you've traded in since starting trading?
Yes. Yes. Because 2017, 2018, it was like a bull market. Like, everything was going up. I want to say going into the middle to the end of the year of 2018, it was pretty uncertainty, because I think we had our first negative GDP print, and everybody was scared, like, oh, are we going to get a second negative print in a row? Because we both know, or all three of us knows, the definition of a recession is 2 back-to-back negative GDPs. I don't care what anybody else says. It's 2 back-to-back negative GDPs. So in 2018, we had our first one and we were scared. Are we going to get a second one? So that's why the market had pulled back. But it wasn't anything like we're seeing right now. Like right now, this is my first recession that I've traded in, that I've been able to sit through. It's pretty crazy, to say the least. It's crazy to see how big money reacts to it and how politicians are reacting to it. It's expected, obviously. You know, they don't want to cause panics in the market by saying, oh yeah, we're in a recession. Obviously, they're going to want to hold off on it. But we already have Fed Bostic and a couple other Fed members bearish as hell, wanting to raise interest rates to 4%. So yeah, this is a pretty difficult market to trade right now. Going into this year, the name of the game for me was just keep your head above waters. Don't try and shoot for anything crazy. Just keep your head above waters, because not only did Apple start saying, you know, when they had their ER back, I think it was February or something like that, they said that, you know, their outlook isn't going to be looking good. Their guidance isn't going to be looking good for the future. And that's what caused a slight dip back in January, February this year. So it was just a keep your head above waters type of thing. And the type of volatility that we're seeing in the markets, like, I know it's nothing compared to COVID times, but it's where, like, those setups are there. You'll see your setups, but then, like, it'll just get wiped out, and then it'll come back, and then it'll get wiped out, come back, hit, and then get wiped out. Like, so the volatility has been pretty pretty hectic to say the least. But I have been, been able to keep up with the sectors moving and everything. Like if I don't see opportunity on SPY, I'll try and look for at the energy or oil sector, because I know that right now those are the 3 hottest sectors right now.
What would you put a price target on SPY if you could put one by the end of the year? We can roll it back in December and be like, oh.
Oh.
You think we break 370, or do you think we land right here?
Without me getting too technical, like I've stopped being very biased as far as so if the Fed continues to stay bearish and continues to tighten and listens to all of our other Feds and gives, because they're calling for 100 to 125 basis point jump, and then they're also calling for 4% interest rates, but not just for a year, not just for 2 years, but at least for 3 years plus. If Powell gives in, we can see SPY 350 easily, 328. I don't think it will break under 300, but it's just mixed, because if we get good data, and the reason why I say good data, let me phrase this very, very carefully. Bad data, but the bad data right now is looked at as good data in a sense, where we understand that, okay, our economy is not looking so good right now. The Fed obviously wants to raise interest rates, but the only way or the only reason why they're raising these rates is obviously to get the economy back in shape. But if they're seeing people, getting more jobs and all that, making more money, they're gonna be inclined to raise rates even more, because they're like, wait, the economy is not struggling yet. Like people aren't feeling a hit yet. Like, let's still raise the rates, because everybody's still, we're still floating, we're still good. But when people start losing their jobs, the unemployment rate number starts going higher and higher and higher. That's letting Powell know that, hey, okay, the economy, like people are like, they're almost at rock bottom in a sense, where it's like, okay, how much pain are you going to give them? Because now there's no more jobs filling up. So if that happens, that'll give him room to now almost like pivot in a sense, where it's like, okay, I think this is enough pain as far as how much we've raised to hurt the economy, as far as getting these people all to lose their jobs, layoffs and whatnot. Let's now bring things down. If he does that, we'll see, SPY to 500, like Tom Lee from Fundstrat is calling it, or whatever. But don't, he's not bad. Like, I love this guy. Trust me, I love this guy. I understand why he says what he says, but at the same time, it's like, I'm now very, very, very hesitant on where I want to see this fight, because right now nobody has trust in the Fed. Everybody has lost trust in the Fed, and it's really up to what are they going to say this month, to give us that direction. Because our NFPs just came out, people lost their jobs. Like there's the unemployment numbers is going higher. So are we going to remain hawkish, or are we going to flip to being dovish? If we remain hawkish, expect more bloodshed, because they're going to tighten. They're going to tighten as hard as they need to, even if it means affecting and hurting the economy. Because they even said that in their last meeting. They said, we will tighten as hard as we need to, even if it means hurting the economy. So it's hard to tell. I want to see because September is normally a bearish month. So I really want to see what the Feds says. I think they speak this month or so, if I'm not mistaken, but I want to see, okay, where are we going to put this rate? Are they going to hike it with the 0.75 that we're all asking for? Or are they going to, give in to it's probably going to give in to all the rest of the Feds and give us that 100-point hike, that 125-point hike or whatever. So it's a 350 to 328 if the Fed stays hawkish. But if he pivots, that 480 to 500 could tap. So it's going to be interesting.
I agree with that. I'm honestly sitting at like 315 depending on this month, but I can at least see like 450 if we hold like yesterday's lows.
Like me personally, like
first head and shoulders, and I can't like dig out of that bullish feeling right now.
No, I feel you, man. But like the way I do it, I just play my levels, man. I just play the trend now at this point. Like it's not even worth trying to, buy leap puts or anything like that to see if you can time it right. It's just like play the current levels that's breaking right now, because obviously the Fed is confused as hell. They said if the public wishes inflation, if they wish worst about inflation, they will manifest it. Like the Fed pretty much said, if we think bad about inflation, we will manifest it, which sounds dumb, right? So you're saying if we keep saying inflation is going to be bad, inflation is going to be bad, we're going to manifest that into the markets? Like, come on now. Like, it's pretty. So no, people lost trust in the Fed. So it's just, let's see what they say in September.
Yeah. So with all the uncertainty like bouncing around in the market, how are you controlling your emotions, man? Like, how are you staying level-headed through all this?
Well, the first things first, if you haven't, emotionally detached yourself from money, this trading isn't for you. You're not going to survive for too long. That's just first. So,
right here.
so like that was one of the first things that I had to do. And that's what Jack told me too. Like, that's one of the first things that I really had to do. I had to emotionally detach myself from making money and losing money. So if I lose money, at least my stop loss had hit and I'm just following my plan. If I make money, I can't, get too euphoric about it. Like, yes, it's a good feeling, but I can't get in over my head and cocky like, oh yeah, I'm the shit. I know it. Because again, just as fast as I made it, I can lose it. But I want to keep a level head at all times and just, follow my game plan. Because all I tell myself is, if your charting is right, the profit is just a byproduct of you having a right chart, and if you lose, then it's just a byproduct of you having a wrong chart. So don't beat yourself up too much about it. I do tend to beat myself up sometimes. So it is something that I'm still working on, but getting emotionally detached from money, I think helps me, keep my head in this game for a long time. Because some people can't even stomach, losing $100, let alone losing $1,000 or $2,000, So it's just like, yeah.
What's something else that you think that a lot of traders and you were struggling with? Like, if you were to put a name on it, just to show
Agreed.
anyone, agreed. Yeah,
Agreed.
But it's more to show everyone that even your mentors, at some point, it's like, we're all human.
Even exactly. We're not bots. We all fuck up. Even the people that you revere as the greats, have bad days too, right? Yes. So greed, I would say, is another roadblock that I had to get over. It's not something that you're going to completely get over. Like, I feel like everybody still has that little ounce of greed in them somewhere, right? So it's just something that you have to keep under control, which is why I've set myself up to say, okay, I just want a daily profit goal. If I get over that goal, hooray. If I get under that goal, and there's just no more opportunity in the markets, call it. But so long as that goal is almost met or near met, then, I'm meeting my standards, or I'm checking my boxes off, right? So I limit myself to a daily profit goal as well as a monthly income goal that I need. And I try and stick to that as far as aligning my trades to meet that and whatnot. So I'm never trying to degen or anything, because if you degen, you're going to get greedy. You're going to lose, so you don't want a revenge trade. No. I pay too much. I get too much to them.
It has to be.
Man.
Man. Especially 0 days. Just
I can't even do that.
Yeah, no, definitely. I've had my itch this weekend. I haven't
played
SPX
man, Jonathan's been going crazy.
Yeah,
Man, if you had an itch with 0 days,
it's just ridiculous.
If you had that itch, they're bringing options to the crypto markets. You know that, right?
Yeah.
That's crazy.
That's gonna be crazy. Yeah, that's gonna be crazy.
That's gonna be everybody's just gonna switch to crypto to do it 24/7.
Everybody's gonna because there's no PDT. There's no PDT.
Yeah.
So you can have your brokerage and trade the crypto. So I know Tastyworks allows you to trade or buy and sell crypto. So if they bring the options to them, dude, I'm gonna be up all night. I probably won't sleep.
I remember you jumping into
Forex, I think.
Yeah, you were jumping into Forex, and dude, flipping accounts there too.
Yeah. So
how'd that go?
I pretty much told myself, I was like, okay, well, I know about the Forex markets, I know about all these, scams that are about it, like IML shit and whatnot. But I told myself, I said, okay, the forex markets, the charts look exactly the same as the stock market. It just moves a lot faster. So I said, if I can use the same strategy that I use when I'm approaching the stock market, if I can approach that with the forex market, but just be quicker, with me understanding that I can take as many day trades that I want, I can buy and sell when I want it and whatnot, right? If I just use my same strategy with that, I would say with that privilege of not being a PDT, this should work out for me. So I opened up an MT4 account, which is a MetaTrader 4. I used the KOT Forex brokers to transfer the crypto that I bought via Cash App in. And I said, okay, I'm going to trade this because I think they had US 30, which is like the futures of the Dow 30 or whatever. And then they had the S&P on there. They had oil on there. They had Ethereum and Bitcoin on there. So I said, okay, I'm going to stick to the names that I know. I already know about SPY and whatnot. So US 30 and the NAS 100, those were I already knew how to trade those. And then I said, okay, let me see if I can trade the crypto markets using, on this Forex platform. So I was trading Ethereum. I was shorting Ethereum because I think I stepped in it in January of 2022. That's when I really said, okay, let me see if I can flip this account. So that's when, again, I knew that the name of the game was just keep your head above water because I knew the market wasn't going to fully go up. It was just going to, in my opinion, I thought it was just going to stay sideways. So I seen, bearish patterns on Ethereum and whatnot, and I just started shorting Ethereum. I think I put in $900 and I went about shorting Ethereum. And then the SPY started shorting the SPY. And I told myself, okay, like Bitcoin moves with Ethereum. If I'm going to ever short Ethereum again, I'm going to take some sympathy shorts on Bitcoin too. And anytime I sell Ethereum, I'm going to just sell Bitcoin too, like at whatever price it's at. Like I'm not really going to do any trading on there because I know that Bitcoin and Ethereum moves in lockstep. And if I'm ever going to short or go long on the US 30, I know that the NAS 100 moves the same way too, right? Because the SPY and QQQ, they both move the same, right? So I said, if I ever trade the US 30, I'm going to just trade the NAS in sympathy. So the market had fell. I'm pretty sure you guys had seen the market fell like crazy. And I was shorting. I was up all night. I mean, no sleep. You can ask Troy Jack, no sleep. I was shorting everything. I shorted everything. I ended up flipping that 900 into like about 31 to 32,000 in a week and a half. And I pulled out all the money. So let me see if I have it on Coinbase. So I ended up transferring the money to Coinbase because that's where I had to withdraw from. So I transferred the money over to Coinbase and I had pulled it out. But I think I only pulled out 27,000. I flipped the rest and then I pulled the remaining out to put in my bank account. But let me see if I can show you guys from the Bitcoin history. But yeah, it was pretty crazy.
So right
it was
place,
pretty
right
crazy.
time kind of thing.
Yeah.
Yes, definitely the right place, right time. But at the same time, it was like, oh shit, the same strategy that I use in the stock market works in the Forex market. So if I ever, feel like flipping an account like crazy, if I ever get bored over the weekend and want to trade, Ethereum, I can. So as you can see here, like, I don't know if you guys can see that, but is it blurry?
Yeah,
A little bit.
We'll get a screenshot and then we'll put it
Yeah.
But I pretty much I sent 27,000 something over to the Coinbase and then pulled it out because people thought it was fake profits. So I was like, okay, I'm gonna withdraw it, and I withdrew it. It took about a couple of hours to withdraw. I'm not gonna lie, because the broker had never seen that much flow through in that amount of time. But yeah, I did that, just to prove to myself that, I could, I got it like that. But it was pretty fun. A lot of people followed along with me.
Yeah, no,
people
I
in my
remember.
chat followed along with me.
I was still sitting in Conservative Collectors. Yeah, I remember a bunch of people shorting it with you and flipping like $100 to like 5,000, not like 500.
It was it was pretty
Dude,
crazy.
He'd like go on the chat and it's like 1 a.m. and he's like, all right guys, short Ethereum here. And bro, and it's the wildest thing, man. Like 30 people were up, like, all right, we're shorting, let's go. Like, yeah.
It was crazy, dude. It was crazy. And again, it's not too. It was just a couple of months ago of this year, you know. But like, it's just that's what I feel like makes the market so beautiful and so lucrative. You know, it's just opportunities like that. You know, so that's why me personally, I'm never gonna stop trading. Like, I'm gonna continue doing this, even when I have my offspring. Like, the minute they can comprehend a word, it's a trading book that they're going to start earning, because like they need to be financially literate at least. You know, they don't have to day trade, but know about the markets. You know, because I think the biggest scam is people not knowing about the stock market. You know, because you don't have to trade, right? You can always do something, which I stress a lot, is buy income. You know, buy income whenever the market is down. Like when we see SPY at 360 not too long ago, I was like that. Like, you never see opportunities like that, right? So whenever opportunities like that come in the market, you buy income on your favorite companies that you know will pay a dividend, right? And you just keep doing that if you can understand the compounding rule and understand that this is not a get rich quick scheme. It's not going to get you rich overnight, but you know, long term, if you have a goal in play, like if you have kids and you want to set an account for them, like buy income, buy income. I can't stress that enough. You can use it to pay bills off and whatnot once they accumulate to a certain amount, you know. Because that's how the rich stay rich. Like, the rich have been buying, like, that's all they do. Like, they just buy stock. I can't tell you guys how many superchargers I've went to, and I've met a lot of Tesla owners. Like, all they hold is Tesla. And a lot of their cost averages range from 27. The highest I've ever seen was 40 bucks a share. They've been holding since, through the splits and everything. So they're millionaires off this stuff, you know? So it's just like, they use that money and they just buy up other stocks to get dividends off of it. And now they're just having dividends flowing in on their $1 million accounts and whatnot. So it's just, that's something that I really want to do. It's just, okay, whenever I see the markets it's getting bloody like this, I'm going to just make sure I have, you know, cash accumulated and just buy income if I can. That's why I say buy. It sounds better when you say buy income, because like if you just say buy stock, it's just like,
There's that saying, the markets can stay. I can't roll it off.
The markets can stay wrong longer than you can stay solvent.
Yeah, there you go. It's just like, man, what recession haven't we eaten out of? You know, so it's
exactly
just putting money
exactly
10 years from now. I mean, that's why we have retirement accounts, because we're expecting in 40 years our money to be up, and then us coming back to be able to just sit at home. So yeah, definitely, I'd agree with that. Like, taking your day trade profits, rolling it into your long term, and just keep it going.
Yeah, man. So, like, outside of trading and like trading Forex and stuff like that, what do you do outside of trading, man? Like, what do you do for fun? You have any hobbies? You work out, play any sports? Like, who are you outside of the computer, man?
That's another good question. I'm pretty introverted, which is surprising. I'm antisocial to an extent, but I'll talk if you can start a conversation with me, because like if you guys will relate to me on this, but ever since I got into trading, dude, all I know how to talk about and all I know how to talk on a daily is just economy and the markets. Like, I can't gossip. I can't talk about anything else. And it's very rare to, at least for me, to find another local that wants to talk about the economy and the markets without being bored to death, you know? So, I mean, I like to go I go on hikes. I'll go work out. It's just hikes and working out, really. Unless, you know, I have friends that will invite me here and there. I don't really like to be around a lot of people, as crazy as that sounds, which is like, you know, with all the following that I've developed and everything. I like privacy. I like to be by myself. Unless I'm needed around a lot of people, like, yeah, you'll just see me, you know, to myself, really thinking, and just like, I like to be creative and not think about the next move, but think about, okay, how can I do better at whatever I'm doing right now? You know, like, how can I get better at this? Like, I'm always thinking of something better to do. So that's how I keep myself entertained outside the market. If I'm not going on a hike, if I'm not working out, like, I'm in a quiet place that's like with the view. So out here in LA, I'll be like in the Rancho Palos Verdes area, which is like the ocean side. So I'm just sitting near the cliffs and I'm just looking at the ocean, just like letting everything out of my mind, because again, as you guys know, this trading shit can really burn you out. Like, it can really take a toll on you. It can stress you out. It can make you get annoyed very easily. So I just like to let all that out, in silence,
Yeah,
every day, like
decompress.
after trading. Yeah, exactly. Because this thing can get very stressful, especially when you're working on overdrive.
Is there any books that you'd recommend to anyone if they're questioning? Of course, Pro Trader
Well,
Day, the spot, like how to trade the
yeah,
spot.
and you can always give them that one. Yeah, you can for sure always hook them up with that one. I mean that's a good question. Like I've read the Think and Grow Rich and everything, but I'll be real with you. I'll be real with you right now. It's one thing to read books because I come across a lot of people that say, "I read these books. I've read books. I read books. I read books," but do you just read the books to read them, or do you actually try and read the books to take excerpts out of them to like try and apply them to your lives, right? Because if you're just reading a book just to say you read books, then I mean, yeah, that's cool, but like it defeats the purpose. So like if I ever really read a book that has me interested, I will take it and apply it to my life. So honestly, I've read the Think and Grow Rich. I didn't find any. It was interesting, but I wasn't too in tune to it to apply anything that I've read from that to my life. The only book, and it's not even a book per se, that I read that I apply to my everyday, just other than the rules, it's a book called The Book of Hard Words. It's very off topic as far as like it has nothing to do with trading. It's literally just a book that exactly. It's a book that comes with. It's a chapter of hard words, hardest words, and even harder words. And there's like very prestigious high-end words, but I use that to, better my vocabulary and to better my speaking skills and whatnot. But like, I think that's a book that I like to read that I can apply to my life. And actually, I apply it in my trading skills too. Whenever I'm teaching people, mentoring people, again, it helps with my communication skills because I was very bad at communicating, so that's a book that I can genuinely say that, has helped me as far as, me communicating and helping people in this trading game on a communication aspect. And on a trading aspect, the rules really, because every other book I think is cliche. Like it's cliche in the sense where it's like, okay, do you really want to learn everything in the market? Because you're not going to know everything in the market, right? Like, what are you trying to learn? Like, what is the strategy that you're trying to learn? Which is why the rules, it's a strategy book moreover than an overall book about the market. Like, it really hones in on a strategy that you can try and use and apply to the market that should work for you, right? So that's why I say the rules is another book that I would say helped me. And it's not to give my own self-help, but like I actually applied that book. Yeah.
No, I definitely agree with you. I think trading is like I can say that you were like my mentor coming up, and then conservative collectors. I had Kevin,
Sure.
but it's I tell people this now. It's not about you copying someone's basket. It's about you picking a little bit off of everyone's basket and creating
Exactly.
your own, right? So not something that's gonna. Everyone says this, but something that works for him isn't gonna work for you. You might.
No.
You might not be able to day trade because of your 9 to 5. So, it's grabbing a little bit from this and that and going from there.
Exactly. Yep. So it's good you said that because I think you pretty much are an example of that. Like you read the book and you've taken, certain things out of that to, apply to your trading strategy, to tweak your trading strategy to make yourself better in that aspect. You didn't just copy me mirrored back to back. And that's, I've gotten that feedback from a lot of other traders too. Like they said, they were able to take, what they learned from, what I taught and what I, write about in my book. And they didn't change their whole strategy because I told them like, if it's not broke, don't fix it. Right. But they were able to tweak their strategy to now work for them the way that they wanted to, So that's what I really like. Like if someone has a working strategy, but they need to, hone in on it to make it better, I would say tweak it. But if you don't have anything, then I would say marrying a trader that you feel is good would be a good start. But you always want to make sure in advance to just keep in the back of your head that, hey, you're going to want to tweak the strategy going forward because you might find something that works for you. Right.
Yeah, definitely. I guess to wrap things up, what's next for you? Are you thinking of real estate? Are you thinking of starting a hedge fund with the boys, or where are you going?
Well,
What's next?
yeah, real estate is the next goal. Like, I really want to get into owning property. I think that's very, very big. Like, it's cool to buy, I would say a Lambo is the next goal, to have a mansion, but like, I really just want property that I'm able to build equity in, and something that I can, have to, when I start having my offspring, I can, leave it down to them. Because what I'm about is just, I'm trying to build generational wealth. I'm not really doing all of this for me, so to speak. I am, here or there, to obviously make a living and, get myself through, but I'm doing all this for my potential future, right? For my potential family. Like, I want to make sure they're set. I want to make sure, everything is financially taken care of. Nobody's worrying. And, if they do want to go to colleges, all colleges can be paid for. We can travel, we can do all that. But I know to do that, you need to have money. So I'd rather get the ball rolling right now while I'm young, than wait, 5-10 years along the line when, I'm already well into my 30s, right? So yeah, that's really my goal, is just to become, financially stable enough to be able to be generationally wealthy, right? So I think the best way to do that, again, getting into that real estate, so I can now build a real estate portfolio, have all these properties. Like, for example, if all three of us were to have bought in property, last year or even 2 years ago, we would have been able to flip them easily just due to the interest rates going up alone. You wouldn't have had to flip the house as far as make renovations to it. You could have just bought the home, sat on it, and then just sell it due to the interest rates going up. So I think that's something that could be very lucrative, if you have multiple properties like that. And you can always, again, rent them out if you want to. So yeah, real estate is next for me.
This was awesome, dude. See, this was sick, man.
Thank you guys for having me.
One great knockout.
Yeah.
I like it.
Yeah. Well, thank you guys. Make sure you follow him on Twitter, iTradeContacts, Jay the Trader. Sign up for his newsletter, get his book, follow my man, show him some love, join his Discord. Thank you guys for tapping in with Chasing Cheddar. We're looking forward to seeing you on the next one.